When Fish announced their Curveball Festival, you already knew it was going to be a big week for Katie Tur.
Nobody likes me. Nobody likes me. But that's okay, because I don't like y'all anyway. Man, I don't like y'all anyway.
We need to pay attention to all this stuff. And don't muddy the waters. Don't let your mind get sidetracked. Because you need to remember that when, it's going to be time to vote again soon. So it's going to be local elections, all this stuff, everything, all these elections. You have to remember that the Republicans would rather collude with Russians than collude with Americans.
Them Staten Island niggas still puffing them dust blunt.
Donald Trump is a white supremacist who enables white supremacists. No lie. I mean, that's accurate. It's an accurate assessment of the situation.
Them Staten Island niggas still puffing them dust blunt.
Dragnets, how do they work? Just say no. Yeah. Here's the problem with just saying no. You can go about your life trying not to do drugs, but you turn on the news and you see Wigmaster over there talking about public health emergencies. That's why drugs are hard to stop. Because of people like that. Big week. It's always a big week. Can't we please have an uneventful week? That's all I want. All I want is one.
Them Staten Island niggas still puffing them dust blunt.
Oh, Jay, why are you wearing that resist shirt? What are you resisting? Bunch of isms and trees. Bigotry, misogyny, racism, fascism, and sexism. The people here are the people on the South Shore, in the rich neighborhoods, the richer neighborhoods, not the poor neighborhoods, are brought up on bigotry, hatred, and classification of, societal roles.
Hey, yo. Who's in your house? Dyze in your house. What goes on, peeps? I am Jay Porks. This is Least Coast Radio. That's where you get the least heard voices. And we are here on an action-packed, wacky Wednesday. Yes, that's right. It's Wednesday. It's not Friday. It's not at around 6 o'clock. And yet you're still getting a brand new, fresh, action-packed episode of Dyze in your house. Before we get into why I'm doing this, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to go to your iTunes. I need you to go to your podcast app. I need you to go to YouTube. I need you to type in Dyze in your house. That's D-Y-Z-E in your house. I need you to type in J Porks. I need you to type in Least Coast Radio. I need you to come find me on the internet. I need you to like, share, and subscribe. I need you to subscribe so you can keep up to date with everything that comes out of the world of Porks. Dyze in your house every Friday at or around 6 o'clock. That's where we handle usually one story, usually one big story that can't fit into the J Porks podcast. The J Porks podcast comes out after the weekend. It's usually a recap of the craziness that the fascist regime brought us that week. Whether it's the Mueller probe, whether it's money, whether it's treason, we get into that. Whether it's what Hannity is talking about, that's what we talk about on the J Porks podcast. We spend roughly an hour, usually over an hour, on the J Porks podcast, delving into important stuff. Remember, folks, the most important thing about the fascist regime that is overtaking America right now is we need to organize instead of normalize. We need to hit the streets, but not hastily. We need to organize together, just like all these primaries are working out. Just like all these grassroots movements with women running for politics. We need to be a part of that. We need to get on the correct side of history. I saw a bumper sticker on a car the other day that gave me a little hope. It said 1/21/21. Yeah. Well, 1/20/21. Hopefully sooner than that. hopefully democracy can prevail and we can survive until Robert Mueller is done with his fine-tooth comb of an investigation. Which, by the way, I mean, you get nothing from Mueller. You get no leaks. And this White House is leaking everything. That's all this White House does is leaks. And, the Mueller investigation is, like, airtight. And Sam Nunberg, he was Monday. He took over Monday, and if you want a lesson in how to just take the news, if you want to, like, there was a big profile in New Yorker Magazine on Christopher Steele, and it was talking about, like, how he had another memo, you know, and there was huge, it's a monstrous story. Really get inside Christopher Steele. Sam Nunberg came on TV and demolished that, is what he did. Now let's explain who Sam Nunberg is. Sam Nunberg is a protege of Roger Stone. Sam Nunberg is also the guy that introduced Steve Bannon to Trump. Nunberg is a Roger Stone, Steve Bannon guy. Roger Stone, if you didn't know, I mean, I'm sure you've seen this on the news already, because as they talk about Roger Stone, they talk about this. He has a tattoo of Richard Nixon's face on his back. Okay? The original dirty trickster. Roger Stone's running buddy for 15, 20 years was Paul Manafort. Paul Manafort is going to jail probably longer than 15 to 20 years. We got indictments galore. So Sam Nunberg is a former Trump campaign aide. I've seen him on Ari Melber before. The Beat with Ari Melber, which, by the way, you need to check out. That is some... Ari Melber's got it going on at 6 o'clock on MSNBC. Dropping rap knowledge. Like, he's the reason why I went to watch the Stretch of Bobbito documentary that's on Netflix. But we'll get into that because we might have another Dyze in Your House. Another category of Dyze in Your House. Another weekly episode. We might add a third one, and it might be music, so just stay tuned. But let's stick on Sam Nunberg. Sam Nunberg was fired from the Trump campaign twice. He made some racist posts on Facebook. So he had to go. He's the guy that gave the wall idea to Trump. That's his idea. So last week, Sam Nunberg went on Ari Melber and talked about how the Mueller investigation was professional and it wasn't a witch hunt. That's what he said. Those are his words. He said not a waste of taxpayer money. Then, on Monday, I guess along with a couple of other people, I think it was 12 total people involved in the Trump campaign / transition, their documents were subpoenaed, emails, phone record, all of that. They subpoenaed them to hand them over. And Sam Nunberg has to go to the grand jury this Friday. And he doesn't like that too much. And remember last week when I said that, you know, people like Katie Tur were doing such great reporting because they have shows. And yes, I'm lowering the background music. That's not an error. Remember when I told you that people like Katie Tur, like who have shows and write articles, are like, you know, don't get enough credit? Well, Katie Tur was at the end of her show, and Sam Nunberg decided to call. And I'm gonna play that soundbite. And not in the terms of I'm going to play this, I'm going to stop the tape and play the soundbite. I'm playing the soundbite right here, and I'm staying with you. I'm going to pause it if I need to and say things. So let's just listen to that moment when Sam Nunberg took over Monday.
The grand jury now says he will refuse to go and says he'll refuse to cooperate with handing over any documents. Sam, you joined me on the phone. Are you there?
Hi, Katie. How are you?
Why are you saying no?
Because what they sent me was absolutely ridiculous. They wanted every email I had with Roger Stone and with Steve Bannon. why should I hand them emails from November 1st, 2015? I was thinking about this today, Katie. I was preparing it. Should I spend 50 hours going over all my emails with Roger and with Steve Bannon? And then they wanted emails that I had with Hope Hicks, with Corey Lewandowski. Are you giving me a break? It's ridiculous.
This is the special counsel. He's investigating Donald Trump.
You know what? Mr. Mueller. You know, when Mr. Mueller...
You sat with him a week ago, or a week and a half ago, and did that make you change your opinion of this investigation, that you don't want to cooperate?
I'm not going to cooperate when they want me to have... When they want me to come into a grand jury for them to insinuate that Roger Stone was colluding with Julian Assange. Roger is my mentor. Roger's like family to me. I'm not going to do it.
What has happened in the last 24 hours that's made you change your mind on this?
When I was going over everything today, when I looked at the subpoena, this was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. And you know what? I'm not a fan of Donald Trump, as you well know. Katie, do you know that?
You've said it.
I'm not a fan of his. He treated Roger and me very badly, and he screwed us over during the campaign. But you know, here, when I get a subpoena like this, Roger's right. It's a witch hunt. I mean, Mr. Trump's right. The president's right. It's a witch hunt. And I'm not going to cooperate. What do I have to spend 80 hours going over my emails that I've had with Steve Bannon and with Roger Stone? What does Bob Mueller need to see my emails when I send Roger and Steve clips and we talk about how much we hate people?
Sam, you were on the campaign early on. You were there when Donald Trump was deciding to announce he wanted to run for president.
Donald Trump did not collude with the Russians. It is the biggest joke to ever think Donald Trump colluded with the Russians. I can tell you, Donald Trump, when he was involved in conservative politics, did not help his business. Okay? Donald Trump did not want to attack Hillary Clinton early on in the campaign. He only wanted to attack Jeb Bush because it wasn't going to be good for him, and had he not won the primary, he was probably going to endorse Hillary Clinton.
Sam, you were
I'm
on
not
this campaign.
going to go over my emails. I'm not going to spend 80 hours because a bunch of FBI agents and a bunch of U.S. attorneys want me to harass me. And you know, here's the thing. They've already bankrupted people, Katie. They've bankrupted other people with this. Sean Spicer has big legal bills. Josh Raffel has big legal bills. Everybody has.
Hold on, Sam. You were on our air on MSNBC just last week saying the Russia investigation was not a waste of time. That this was not a waste of taxpayer money.
It's a waste of time. You
were adamant about that. So what has changed? What has changed, Sam, in the last 24 hours or last week where you've decided not to do this?
When I got the subpoena, it was ridiculous to me. The subpoena is absolutely ridiculous. Why should I hand them over every email I've had with Steve Bannon and Roger Stone since November? And you know what? Since November of 2015, give me a break.
Sam, what about those who might look at this and say you have something to hide, or there's something that you don't want to reveal because now you're saying you're not going to cooperate? What if people think it looks suspicious?
Let them think what they want. Let them think what they want. You know what? I'm the first person to go out here and say I'm not cooperating because it's absolutely ridiculous what they want from me. Katie, should I spend 80 hours going over emails that I've had with Steve Bannon and Roger Stone?
You're going to defy a grand jury subpoena. Are you worried about being held in contempt of court?
Let's see what Mr. Mueller does.
Are you worried about getting arrested?
I think it would be funny if they arrested me.
You're held in contempt of court. You have higher legal bills.
Really funny if they wanted to arrest me because I don't want to spend 80 hours going over emails I had with Steve Bannon and Roger Stone.
Steve Bannon, Roger Stone, Hope Hicks. Who else is on the list of emails that they want from you?
Oh, Katie, did I ever communicate with Carter Page? Do you think I communicated with Corey Lewandowski after November 1st, 2015?
Let's move forward. Nunberg is on with Katie Tur, and he said, let's repeat. Let's repeat the words that were said. I think it would be really funny if Robert Mueller arrested me. I think it would be really funny. I think Robert Mueller also thinks that that's really funny. So let's see. Towards the end, there is a part that I need everyone to hear.
The way they ask questions about anything I heard after I was fired from the campaign to the general election to even November 1, it insinuated to me that he may have done something.
If you got that sense from the special counsel's investigators, why would you not want to cooperate with them if you got a sense that something
Because
happened?
I'm not interested in handing all my emails over that I've communicated with Steve Bannon, with other people, and with Roger Stone. I'm not interested in it. And I'm not interested in them insinuating that Roger did something bad.
Sam, I want to be
I'm more defensive.
I want to be clear. I want to be very clear. Has
Here it is.
anybody at all contacted you in the last few days, the last 24 hours, to
No.
encourage you not to talk to the special counsel, or to tell you not to talk to the special counsel, or to give you a reason why it would not behoove you to talk to the special counsel?
I decided this, Katie,
I'm sorry, the grand
a
jury.
couple hours ago. I decided this when I was going over all my emails. And I was going over how long and arduous this process was going to be. And I was just like, this is ridiculous. Why do I have to give Bob Mueller my emails, my random emails with Steve Bannon and Roger Stone?
Sam,
Why?
has anybody from the Trump White House contacted you?
No.
Has the president contacted you?
No.
Has anybody from Trump's legal team contacted you?
No.
Has Roger Stone told you not to go talk to the grand jury?
No.
Has Steve
In fact,
Bannon told you not to go talk to the grand jury?
No.
Has anybody at all told you not to go talk to the grand jury?
I spoke to Steve Bannon for the first time last week after I went in there, and I spoke to him, and Steve and I were discussing about how we both feel, Katie, like I'm telling you, that Trump may have very well done something during the election. I don't know what it is. I could be wrong, by the way.
Sam Nunberg. Remarkable. Thank you very much for calling
Here
in.
it is.
What's remarkable about this, by the way?
Everything's remarkable about it, Sam.
You called me, correct?
It's all unbelievable, I'd say.
What do you think Mueller's do to me?
I'm not a lawyer, I don't know, but I imagine, given the circumstances, you might be held in contempt of court. We'll see.
If I'm held in contempt of court, because I don't want to communicate what Roger Stone and Steve Bannon and I talked about since November 1 of 2015.
It's also Keith Schiller and Michael Cohen and Hope Hicks and Corey Lewandowski and Donald Trump and Rick Gates and Paul Manafort.
Do you think I had any contact with Carter Page?
Sam, I don't know.
Contact with?
Sam, I don't know.
Well, the answer is no.
Sam, thank you for calling in. It's 3 o'clock. I've got to hand things over to Casey Hunt. Come back live on our show tomorrow if you can, or come back on our air at 5 o'clock today.
Okay?
I'm sure she can hear you. Sam Nunberg, thank you very much.
So that was... Did you get the end there? Did you get at the end? I'm sorry, let me turn the mic back to me. Did you get at the end there the feeling when he says to Katie, do you think I'm gonna get in trouble? I mean, it's like a realization of, wow, I may have gone a little too far here. It's insane because any normal news cycle would have been dominated by the one crazy campaign aide who got called up by Katie Tur and actually was like, yeah, I'll go on and talk about it. Now, that would be crazy enough. But he also called into Jake Tapper on CNN. Then he showed up on set on Ari Melber's show at 6 o'clock. This was right before the 3 o'clock hour. Then he showed up on Ari Melber and got some legal advice from Maya Wiley, former counsel for the New York City mayor. And still, he wanted to rip up the subpoena on live TV. He doesn't think Robert Mueller's going to send him to jail. And he has until Friday to decide if he's going to go to jail and be the Greg Anderson to Trump's Barry Bonds, or if he is going to comply. Now, listen. The thing is, does Robert Mueller really care about Sam Nunberg's emails? If he did, he'd already have them. But there's an important narrative that's about to be spun. And Nunberg started it there. He said, I'm not going to bury Roger Stone. Roger Stone's my mentor. So he's giving us the impression that Robert Mueller is looking into Roger Stone. Tuesday, Roger Stone was on Meet the Press because, he loves, Roger Stone loves media attention. That's all Roger Stone is. So, and, he denied a bunch of stuff and did the typical, he said what Trump told him he's going to say. But at the same time, he dropped one little nugget on us that is going to flip this whole thing. This is the narrative they're going to plug on us. Roger Stone claims that because Julian Assange is not Russian, WikiLeaks is not a hostile foreign power. They're not Russian. Therefore, the campaign is allowed to collude with WikiLeaks because they're just a non-profit organization. Opening governments. So if there's a determination that Julian Assange, Roger Stone wants to put the narrative out there that, listen, Julian Assange is not a Russian operative. And the reason that's getting out there is because Don Jr., all these people in the campaign spoke to Assange. They all had communications with Assange. Sam Nunberg didn't have any communications, but he knew that Trump Tower meeting was happening a week before. And then, did you hear at the end? At the beginning, he says, Trump didn't collude with the Russians. And then at the end, he says, me and Steve Bannon think he possibly did something. Mueller has something on him. Well, which one is it? You ever see someone crack under pressure before? And there was one CNN host, because after Ari Melber, he went back to CNN. I'm not sure how far away these buildings are from each other. Maybe the studios are in the same building. He went back to CNN. And the anchor's like, I smell alcohol on your breath. No. We're not letting him get out of this. Alcohol affects your judgment. It doesn't affect your truth-telling ability. He's like, I'm only on my medicine. My antidepressants. And at that point, it's when you realize that Sam Nunberg is the kind of guy that would go to jail in this scenario. He's not rich and powerful. Oh, by the way, do you know what Sam Nunberg's job is? Do you know, what he went to school for? And do you know he's a lawyer? He's a lawyer. Okay? This is crazy. In a week, and this is a distraction. And I got caught up in it, I'll admit. I just gave you 20 minutes of me getting caught up in the distraction. This is to distract from the Christopher Steele profile, which paints him as a human, There's also the UAE, man. The United Arab Emirates. Emirates. I'm not going to be able to pronounce that word, so I'm just going to say UAE. They're affecting policy via Jared Kushner. We got a lot. Tariffs. Gary Cohn is out because apparently tariffs are more offensive to Gary Cohn than Nazis. There's so much going on. But I personally and the rest of the world got sucked into Sam Nunberg. Who got got to him. Somebody got to him. Because a week ago, he was fine. Or did he go through his emails and see something? Maybe he saw something that could be construed as collusionary. Meanwhile, when they subpoena documents, like, it was actually, I said it was like 14 people, 21 people. Communications between all of these people. Sally Yates is on that list. Like, they want to... Who did this guy communicate with? Who did he send emails to? They don't necessarily consider everyone they ask for documents for as a target. If they ask 20 people for documents, probably 2 of them are who they're looking at. You know? So, Nunberg should chill. If he didn't break the law, you didn't break the law. Is he afraid that some racist comment is going to come out from his email? Mueller doesn't leak. This isn't the House Judiciary Committee, which, by the way, is leaking. Nunes, talking to you. Nunes, Nunberg. Noon week, right? So much stuff happening this week, and we needed, and I got sucked in. I did, along with the rest of the world. We got captivated, man. And he's such a low-level guy with no money that he probably will go to jail if he doesn't show up to the grand jury on Friday and doesn't have, like, a valid reason. Like, you could ask for an extension. Like, you know, he could be like, oh, give me time. I gotta get my documents together. You know, and the court could be like, all right, we'll give you some time. He could even ask for the scope of the subpoena to be narrowed. He hasn't asked that. He just started going, he saw the subpoena and went nuts. Something happened. Somebody got to him, or he knows of some crimes. And he's covering those crimes and therefore incriminating himself. He can go there and take the 5th if he wants. And it all set up Roger Stone to come out on Tuesday and look normal. Like, think about that. Stone was on TV looking normal because his protege, who he kind of distanced himself from, he was like, I didn't tell him to do that. Who he kind of distanced himself from, his protege went on TV and started talking crazy. And then Roger Stone came on and said, you know, this is what, and true story. He said, you know, I've been known as a dirty trickster in politics before, but if there's one trick that's not in my bag, it's treason. And that's all well and good. And I would just like to ask, if you were advising Nixon at the time when he was running for president in 68, and was it 68? When he actually won, and he actually shut down peace talks between LBJ and the Vietnamese. Like, that was actually a thing. So Nixon is actually the original colluder. And Roger Stone comes from Nixon. Roger Stone is a protege of Roy Cohn. Roy Cohn is a protege of Joe McCarthy, of McCarthyism. McCarthyism. Roy Cohn. Roger Stone. Sam Nunberg. You know? I mean, in that gene pool, Sam Nunberg is really low. This is all coming together. And Stone's been advising Trump since the 90s. If there's one trick in my bag, it's not treason. That was the only thing said seriously from Roger Stone. Which means there really was treason. Which means, it means quite possibly that treason happened. Because why would he say it? Why do people answer questions they weren't asked? You know? Like when they asked Trump, what are you doing about Russia? And he says, well, no collusion. Well, wait a second. We didn't actually say that right now. We just asked what you're doing, sanctions-wise. By the way, the next day, Nunberg said he's going to cooperate. He's going to look through his emails. He's going to print them out. And he still says he might not show up on Friday. And if he doesn't show up on Friday, he's going to go to jail. And does Sam Nunberg go to jail for Trump? Is that something he wants to do? Crazy. Wild and crazy. I guess we'll find out. We're going to find out if Sam Nunberg's going to go to jail on the next edition of the J Porks podcast. Until then, J Porks, Dyze in your house. Bom, 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 bom.